You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine when it hurts.
You know what it takes to sell real estate?
It takes brass.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome to Money Never Sleeps, the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And I want to touch on a couple things, you know. I'm not going to go over general market commentary, fluctuations, so on and so forth. You know, on one of the past episodes, I was talking about Fitbit. I think that was before Fitbit became publicly traded. And, you know, everybody was really, you know, going crazy. Fitbit, you know, the band that's going to go on there and with all the technology and so on and so forth. I wasn't a believer in it because you're going into a space where you're competing with other applications, other watches that have these applications, such as Apple, so on and so forth. And Fitbit, to me, you know, even them coming out with different products and things of that nature, I always thought at some point in time they were going to hit a brick wall, you know. And look, the stock now, as of today, you know, is down after, you know, their sales disappoint. And after the CEO said, hey, guess what, guys? We're losing money. Of course you're losing money. I'm not shocked about that. You know, I said it a long time ago that, and I appreciate the technology. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the technology, but you're in a crowded space. And you're in a crowded space, and yeah, people believe in it, but you're competing against the mammoths, where they can, you know, they'll just create new things, applications, whatever the case may be. I think that maybe, you know, restructuring of their product lines may be in order. You know, I mean, it's with Fitbit, I see it being more of a specialty type of thing, and they were looking to go mainstream. And I think that was the problem because it's, you know, it's used for one thing. It's not multifunctional. Where let's say you have an iWatch is multifunctional, is doing a lot of different things. Their thing is just actually dealing with, you know, fitness. And really, how many people out there want to wear two things on their wrist? Not me. If I'm wearing a watch, I'm wearing a watch, and then maybe I'm wearing a bracelet. I'm not going to wear two electronic devices, you know. I'm not going to be like RoboCop. But anyway, not shocked that the stock is down, and I see it, unless they do something dramatic, I see it continuing to cascade down. Because I don't see the value. Then that's my opinion. And I want to touch on this with Warren Buffett. You know, I love Warren Buffett. He is iconic in finance and beyond. You know, he has done it all, and he's built and made more millionaires than probably a lot of anyone out there. You know, just from doing what he does best. But he, you know, he made a comment about ladies, liquor, and leverage. I want to just expand on that. Buffett's argument has to do with long-term investing, you know, and the leverage part of it, not the ladies and liquor, the leverage part of it. If it's ladies, liquor, and leverage, forget about it. Vegas would shut down, all right? Okay, so we're talking about long-term investing, you know, not trading. Trading, you have to leverage up, and, you know, because if you don't, then you're gonna utilize all your resources to go and trade, and you know what, that happens. You're not going to be able to make the profits you're supposed to be making. You know, that holds true for hedge funds and so on and so forth. You know, you hedge, and you need the margin on it in order for you to make as much money as possible, because you're fighting for pennies. You know, and that's a different game. Investing, yeah, I mean, if you're a long-term investor, going in on margin doesn't make any sense, because you don't want to worry about it. God forbid the market turns the wrong way, and then all of a sudden you go from, you know, having, being at 20% margin, now you have 50% margin, now you're getting margin calls, and so on and so forth, and it can be quite traumatic, to say the least. If you've never dealt with that, trust me, you don't want to deal with it. So avoid that. So I agree with Warren Buffett on that. Not that it matters in the whole scope of things, but I just wanted to address that because I know I've gotten a lot of questions about it. And again, it had nothing to do with trading. It had to do with long-term deals. Now, and you look, I'm gonna go into something which is, and this is shifting from Warren Buffett to this, which is interesting. And you may not know this, but look, you've heard of Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Credit Suisse. You know, you've heard of all the big banks, both in the U.S. and overseas. You know, Deutsche Bank, so on and so forth, and other major deal-making banks. But you probably didn't know that the legacy bank Rothschild's bank is in the top 5 as far as European deal-making banks are concerned. You've heard of the theory of the Illuminati. Okay, you've seen that with the if you go on YouTube, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. They have a lot of things on it which are really, really interesting. Well, the Rothschilds family is dead center in that deal, in that theory. So if you truly believe in that, then this is what you're dealing with. The bank was founded over 200 years ago, and now they'll be changing, and there'll be a big change at the guards as the 7th generation of Rothschilds takes the helm with a younger outlook on the world, but with the same family tradition of making money because they know how to make money. David D. Rothschild, Mr. Rothschild, is said to be stepping down while his son, who probably has been groomed from birth, like his father and his father before him and so on and so forth, to take the helm. And he's going to take the helm. Alexander Rothschild has been waiting in the wings, and now his time is at hand. He's been heavily involved in the private equity arm of the bank. You know, he's been making a bunch of investments in small U.S.-based companies. Go figure. European bank making investments in U.S. companies, and that's what they want to do. It's expanding their empire. Maybe they're looking for world domination. Watch out. Or have they done that already? I don't know. I guess it depends on what you believe. If you believe in the Illuminati, you believe in, the Freemasons, you believe in all that stuff, well, there you go. You come up with your own conclusion. Well, again, I guess it depends on who you listen to. But they're serious players in the finance game. And I would say a more aggressive, growth-oriented outlook may be on tap. So watch out, especially U.S.-based companies. They're making a lot of investments in there. Now I want to slide over to cannabis. Now you have a Canadian cannabis company trading on the New York Stock Exchange called Cronus Group. They're not doing anything in the United States yet because, as you know, it's not legal on a federal level and actually not at all state levels or local levels as of yet. So just like with the CBOE and CME listing Bitcoin futures, the New York Stock Exchange listing a weed company on the exchange is progressive. Interesting. They let that happen, but it's legal. Where Cronus Group deals is legal, so they're not doing anything wrong. They will probably be in a killer. I'm talking a serious killer position to gobble up cannabis assets in the U.S. if it gets a federal nod. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Okay, in the midst of this current administration, I doubt we will see that for another few years. And if President Trump gets reelected, then for a few years more. So I wouldn't hold my breath on it. But again, Cronus in that space is in a good position to go and capitalize on it because there is going to be a lot of opportunity out there. Now, shifting gears, even though the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, is leaning towards another 3 rate hikes this year, look, don't let that spook you too much. We need a correction. And we've had a few corrections already, and you need that now and again. You have to. You gotta do that because it'll open up opportunity. It creates buying opportunities with certain stocks that have value. So these corrections come in handy. There's a term, And if you're not familiar with it, let me tell you. There's a term called dollar cost averaging. Okay, and that's in mutual funds. You can do the same with stocks. If it makes sense and you believe in the stock that much, what happens? Stock drops, then you can buy on the dip, reduce your overall cost basis, and that's smart investing as opposed to emotional investing. Too many people invest emotionally, whether it be stocks, just like if you're buying a home, it's an emotional purchase, right? Because you're going to live there, so it's emotional. Unless you're buying a building, then it becomes a business deal. And then just talking about real estate for a second, honestly, and I put this on social media today. Look, when you go and you buy a home, a single-family home is probably the worst investment that anyone can make because you're constantly putting into it. You're paying into this all the time. And some people think that, hey, this is my nest egg. This is my retirement. I said, I guess that's the way it was back in the day, but I think I would hope that people got smarter over the years. And if you are looking for an nest egg for the future, then start investing in multifamily units. Now, I'm not talking about single and two-family homes. That you don't want to do because that's risky. The reason being is that if you're renting to someone and they leave, it may take you 4, 5, 6 months to find someone else, so you'll be at a loss. But if you have multiple apartments in a building and someone leaves, as long as you're at, I don't know, you're probably, depending on what your mortgage is and your payments and your outflows are, basically if you're at 80% occupancy, you should be in good shape. Nobody wants to be in 80% occupancy, but that's pretty good, because if it covers your expenses and covers all your whatever you need to do there, then you're in good shape, and it's a good investment for the long haul. And again, that's my real estate input because, again, a lot of times people think, all right, I'm going to go buy the big house, have the big cars and everything else and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, keep in mind, when you buy a single family home, it's a constant investment. It doesn't stop. It keeps going and going and going. So if you're looking to make a profit on it, just make an investment in multifamily. If you're looking to live there and that's what makes you happy, okay, that's an emotional thing. That's okay. Just don't take your investment money and say, hey, I'm going to invest in this. This is my nest egg till I die. Don't be that person. It's not a good thing to do. All right. Now, over the past few episodes, I've been talking a lot about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. I've been talking about that lately because it's that important. You have a lot of things happening, in blockchain. Let me just stick with that for a second. You have a lot of things happening in blockchain. You have a lot of innovation that's happening. It's not a new. The funny thing is, it's not a new thing. It's a system. Okay. They're saying a lot of people think that, hey, this is new, but it's not. This is something that's been around for a while. It's just being utilized now, as more so now than ever. This is something that was utilized. Honestly, it was brought to light because of Bitcoin, because the underlying technology is blockchain technology. That keeps things honest. You can have it's an accounting system. You can have an 100% accurate accounting system in place that is irrefutable, undisputable. You cannot go and say, hey, I'm gonna dispute this. You can't. It's on the record. Especially if the blockchain is allowing certain documents and everything to be a part of it. All right. So, that's why blockchain is that important. I believe that blockchain is going to find its way into the automotive industry, the airline industry, definitely the educational industry, because you're going to be able to go and, when you're getting your diploma and everything else, your grades, that's a permanent record, right? So it stays there. Logistics, keeping track of everything to make sure things are getting from point A to point B, so on and so forth. It's going to be utilized in RFID for sure. Okay, manufacturing, you can utilize blockchain within your manufacturing facility for a number of things. All it is keeping records of everything, records that are permanent records. Like in automotive, you can have blockchain for all the parts and the maintenance and everything. So there's a permanent record. So if that car, once it's not new and it's used and it's going to be resold, they have the certified cars, guess what? They can go and show that record, and it gives proof. It's like Carfax, but for real. Permanent stuff. All right? So, again, blockchain, I believe, is the next layer of the Internet, and I've been saying that for a long time, and it's going to be really, really, really interesting. Just be careful with these companies that change their name to blockchain this, blockchain that. You know, it's a joke. Okay, if they're not really in blockchain and the actual technology and they don't have a business model behind it that is strong, I would run the hell away. You hear me? Run away. Stay away from it. Now, shifting to Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin has been on a continued roller coaster ride, and I feel for those that have been jumping in and out, I feel for you guys. You've been jumping in and out the last few months, and I mean, I'm sure your stomach must be flipping out here and there, and your wives or your husbands must be, yelling at you, and I mean, but it's stressful when you're doing it. I mean, it can be fun if you're making money, but you start losing money. It's not so fun at that point, and I don't think that Bitcoin will ever stabilize the way that it needs to. I don't think it'll ever do that, especially as other viable cryptos are hitting the scene. Look, it's going to provide options to crypto investors looking for the next big thing. Bitcoin, yeah, it has the legacy feature, meaning that it was the grandma of the cryptocurrencies. That's where it begins and that's where it ends. It opened up the doors for everything, and God bless them. God bless the founder of it for making it happen, because it allowed all this other stuff to happen and allowed for blockchain to really take its place where it needs to. So it's a catalyst, causality, I guess, causality. So and looking for the next big thing to come out of crypto, you want to look at value. Really learn what the coin or token is for. Does it have a purpose? Ask that question to yourself. Does it have a purpose? And what's the utility of the coin or the token? And if there is no real use, then what is it backed by? Is it backed by anything? If there's nothing backing it other than an ICO that was done and they raised $10, $20 million, whatever the case may be, then, look, I would just hold on to my ankles at that point, because it's going to hurt when it's all said and done. And the funny thing, and I said this before, the funny thing is that, do you know that investors shy away from ICOs that have platforms in place already? And I don't know whether it's the brokers that are telling them that, or whoever's bringing it to them, or if this is their own conjuring of the ideology of cryptos and how to get involved. It's the craziest thing, but it's definitely a greed factor. I see it as a greed factor. They want to be on the ground floor, like it's the 90s, IPO season, let's rock and roll, right? I wish they understood that it's smarter to align with the crypto. It's technology, man. It's technology. Align with one that has a use or value beyond peer-to-peer use. You need it. You need it. If you want growth, you need it. As opposed to trying to get a coin for a penny so you can sell it at $1. Please. That's the penny stock game, and that's something you want to avoid. On the last show, I mentioned the coins that have intrinsic value, and that's important. And they are Ethereum, Ripple, and pecu novus. Now, I like all of them. I'm a big advocate of one of them, as you may know, and that's pecu novus, for a number of reasons. Now, I want to go over those reasons with you. Pecu novus is asset-backed, and those assets will increase over time. And that will just bring more value to the entire supply of coins. And you're probably wondering, well, how is that even possible? I'm going to tell you. Right now, pecu novus, over 80% of the coins in total supply are being used for investment purposes. And that's a fact. it gives me a good indication on the future possibilities and use of the coins. The coins are being utilized for business. They're being utilized for import, export, other trade, things of that nature. These are the uses of the coin. You have people that are true. They're investing in it because, there's a value there. So they're buying the coins, they're holding on to them. And right now, I think that, for what I know and what I see, you're going to have more and more coins that are going to be like this. With regulation coming on the pike, they're going to need to. There's going to have to be something there other than fluff. Now, some of the great features that businesses and even individuals can use with pecu novus include an escrow feature. Now, that is a protective measure so that, look, if you make a transaction using pecu coins, right, and the other party doesn't follow through, then you can actually go in and cancel the escrow with cause and take back your coins and just, explain why. Why are you canceling it? Well, they didn't deliver. That's a valid thing, and you'll get and you can request for a triple verification, so that they can go and verify that that is a fact, that you didn't just get the item and not pay them. Okay? So things like that. And that it's working, again, on a smaller scale for individuals, but also on a bigger scale for businesses, import, export, so on and so forth. It protects both parties and makes every transaction safer and more secure. I believe this to the core because I've seen it and I've used it for that purpose. So that's, to me, that's important. And another feature is that you can actually print out an account statement of your account and save it to your files. You can share it with your accountant, etc., etc. You can paste it on your wall, frame it, whatever you want to do. Usually, you only see that on exchanges, so this was unique in nature and a big, big plus for me. And for me, the most powerful aspect of this network is that a majority of the coins, as I said earlier, are being used to invest and create value for all the coins. This is key because as those investments increase over time, just like anything else, the value of the coin will increase and stabilize as it moves along. So the wild swings up and down that you see with most cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on and so forth, you really won't see that here with pecu as it grows. You won't see it, popping up 30% and dropping 20% and going up 50% and dropping 100%. You won't see it. You won't see it. The whole network was created to create value for the coin and for those people that are holding pecu coins. And of course, it's still in its infancy. That's the beauty of this. It's still in its infancy. And that's why it's been gradually going up over the past couple months. But I do believe that we will see some serious interest coming into pecu in the very near future. I'm talking about this on the show. I've been talking about it, and more people are talking about it, and they should. Once they learn what it's about, they're going to want to talk about it because it makes sense. And this will put pecu on the lips and in the minds of more people worldwide than it does now. This is how I see it, and I believe that premonition or that view is going to become a reality. And as the Joker said to Batman, well, I'm tweaking it for this case, but it's like gravity. Sometimes all you need is a little push, and away you go. Of course, we're talking about the opposite direction, but you get the point. As interest increases in the coin, the more widely spread it'll become. And eventually, it'll be traded, and I've gotten these questions as far as it being on exchanges and liquidity, so on and so forth. Hang tight. Hang tight, because I know that there are a lot of great things going on with pecu novus, and there are a lot more things that are going to be coming on the horizon shortly. And it's going to eventually be traded on numerous exchanges and take on a life of its own beyond what has been done to date. Okay, I'm looking at this, and people may see where the price is. I still think it's, again, for me, if pecu was at 1,500 a coin, I would still consider it cheap with what is going on with it. And a lot of people don't know. And that's the beauty of it. They don't understand that, that this is a serious growth situation. And when they begin to understand that, that's when you're going to see, I believe that you're going to see an influx of people wanting to have a piece of it, but you only have so much to go around, right? So, but anyway, pecu novus is my pick going through 2008 and into 2019, 2018 going into 2019, and probably going into 2020. The value is there, and once that is realized, I doubt that you're going to find any low-hanging fruit that'll be available from then on. So just take a look at it. I would take a look at it, and then, other ones, again, Ethereum, definitely look at that. Ripple, look at it. They have business models behind them. That's why I like them. Okay, because there's growth potential. And if you're looking for growth potential, these are the things you want to look at. Okay, you always look for the value, see what the use is of any coin, see what the intrinsic value is, and take it from there. All right. Anyway, that's it for this edition of Money Never Sleeps Radio. I appreciate you listening in, and I know I did get a slew of questions as far as pecu novus. I wasn't able to get to all these questions on this show. But I will get to those questions as I go along and as I get the right answers for you guys, all right? But I appreciate it. And again, have yourself a fantastic trading week and have a fantastic week in general. And we'll be back with you next time on Money Never Sleeps.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Louis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Louis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.